I just did it.
Well, we don't have any attendees yet.
Yep. And people are getting bombarded with a webinars nowadays.
Hmm.
Let's wait for 5 or 6 minutes, and then basically, if nobody shows up, then maybe I'm thinking, uh, then we can discuss what needs to be done next.
Sure.
I think we should wait just 2 more minutes, and then because normally people get a pop-up on their Outlook and everything,
Mm-hmm.
and I did set it up the reminder as well, so they would have got a reminder as well. So,
See who's calling me here.
hey Glenn,
Hey, Puneet, sorry about that. Why don't we go ahead and get started? I fidgeting there with the mute. So we seem to have our attendees showing up. So to to start out, let's do some introductions. My name is Glenn Gray. I'm a senior solutions architect with AppViewX, and on the call with me, I have Puneet Singh of Encryption Consulting. Puneet, if you'd like to give a voice print and an introduction.
Sure. Thank you, Glenn. My name is Puneet Singh, and I'm one of the founder of Encryption Consulting LLC. And I've been working in the PKI, HSM, and the encryption space for the last 16 plus years. Glenn, you want to take it?
Yes, thank you. So a little bit about my background, primarily in network engineering and security operations. Been within the IT industry for over 15 years now. So why don't I jump right in with our topic today, which is PKI Management must-have features. AppViewX specializes in certificate lifecycle management and automation and orchestration of your IT infrastructure. We're going to be focusing on the AppViewX platform with today's discussion and how PKI management, how the AppViewX platform services as a PKI management platform, and some of the must-have features that if you're looking for PKI management solutions, certificate lifecycle management solutions, you should take into consideration.
Glenn, do you want to switch the slides? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So a little bit about Encryption Consulting. If Puneet, you'd like to describe how your business provides solutions and services?
Sure. Thank you, Glenn. Hello all. My name is Puneet, as I said earlier, and I'm the founder of the Encryption Consulting LLC. And we are a startup, and we have been in the business for almost 2+ years, and we focused in the space of the PKI, HSMs, certificate lifecycle management, and encryption, tokenization, and masking. And before starting the encryption consulting, I have worked for some of the big 4 consulting firms such as Deloitte and EY, and most of our consultants come from the big 4 background. And we have got 30+ customers in the Fortune 500 for whom we provide the consulting in this particular space. And we are totally a US-based company, and we operate just in North America and Canada as of right now. Glenn, do you want to take it over?
Yes, thank you. So AppViewX, global company, 300+ employees, locations worldwide, and we have been, I believe it was founded in 2012, so over 8 years of experience in the industry. And we cater mainly towards Fortune 500 enterprise. So jumping right into the subject matter, I'd like to focus on the PKI management must-have features. We're going to be describing 5 of those must-have features individually. First of all, discovery and visibility. We have a screen image there of the inventory of a discovered of a server certificate inventory as discovered from a particular certificate authority, an internal CA, for example. So this feature is very important simply because the discovery of unknown certificates is a first approach and when you're looking at your overall certificate infrastructure and assets. So the discovery of unknown certificates across a heterogeneous environment, right? Regardless of whether they're on IIS, Linux, load balance, firewall, etc. The ability to group the certificates and keys and establish policy, that you can enforce. Those policy structures would define what are the acceptable certificate authority issuing entities, your cryptographic protocol, policy structures, bit length, key signing algorithms. In addition, your monitoring status, the ability to get notifications about certificate renewals prior to expiry. And lastly, the holistic view of your certificate, which would include the chain of trust and where it's installed. So the certificate authority that issued the instance, the asset, and where the asset resides on its SSL TLS listener. Number two would be certificate and key compliance, that policy standard structure. And here we have an image of dashboard view, which shows reporting, holistic reporting of your certificate assets. Some of these graph indicators would be things like your policy compliance, which are compliant, which are non-compliant, and within those two categorizations, the inventory of items that are compliant, non-compliant, as well as the reasons they are non-compliant or compliant. So you have standardized certificate provisioning using a simple self-serviceable automation workflow. That is a feature set that the AppViewX platform provides. The ability to define granular role-based access controls so that you can enforce specific business policies. The ability to create audit trails for each user and the certificate or key related activities. All of these would fit under that umbrella of compliance standards. And then share certificate and key compliance statistics and reports, an example of which is shown there in the image. The secure key management, so the ability to retain your private keys within a centralized repository. Now that can be provided within the AppViewX platform database itself, or you can integrate with hardware security modules, examples of which like Gemalto, Encipher, your SafeNets, even AWS environment cloud-based. So you're able to store those private keys in sufficient encryption software vaults that are FIPS compliant and certified as HSM platforms. Using a built-in third-party password vault for protecting device credentials, automation workflows to push certificates and keys to multiple devices, being able to check them out of your HSM platforms and deploy them efficiently and effectively to your endpoints. This really reduces your overall threat surface by not requiring that private keys be exchanged through share repositories, email structures, copy paste from desktops, things like that. When you're practicing certificate lifecycle management in that fashion, it really exposes your private key structures to potential bad actors and can be shared outside of the intended recipients or authorized users. And then scheduling of on-demand or even time-bound privileged access for users. Did I skip one? Yeah, we're on 4. So fourth item, the holistic oversight and management. I had mentioned, I believe, on topic number 1. This is an explanation of that view, which I mentioned as a holistic view, where you're seeing the chain of trust from the root, intermediate, and actual certificate instance itself, as well as the logical association to where it resides, which in this image, I'm showing the drop-down shade for certificate lifecycle management functions, such as downloading, deleting certificates, downloading keys, issuing regeneration, renewal, revocation requests directly from the holistic view. And behind that shade is the object representation of where the certificate actually resides. In this case, it's showing a JBoss connector there, and there's a server object behind that shade to represent where the certificate lives. So from this holistic view, I can perform all of the basic certificate lifecycle management functions as are shown there. As an example, regeneration. So I could issue the regeneration request to, in this case, the DigiCert certificate authority, and then apply that regenerated certificate directly to the server platform where it will live. And all of this from a single pane of glass. So this holistic oversight and management capability allows you to expose a single proxy through not only the web user interface as depicted in the image, but for API use and the support of well-known protocol structures like SCEP, ACME, and KMIP requests. This allows you to integrate with endpoints and certificate authorities. Endpoints being firewall, server, load balancer, IoT devices, basically any point where you would have a TLS SSL listener. And then use of out-of-box integration with vendors to handle certificate enrollment for all endpoints. As I mentioned, the device array, firewall, regardless of vendor, server platform, regardless of technology, whether it's Linux, Unix, IIS, and so forth. Now the last item, customized and detailed planning or workflow construct. The AppViewX platform, as I mentioned, offers the automation and orchestration capabilities through a workflow engine and a highly intuitive workflow design palette, which is the image displayed here. It's an example of a workflow structure that is meant to be highly repeatable and extendable as a self-servicing request catalog item. So here we have the start and end sequence of tasks like certificate details, gathering the input for, say, a certificate signing request, then integration with even ITSM tools like ServiceNow for ticket creation, ticket update, and ticket closure. We can integrate with the certificate authorities. In this particular example, you're seeing the third step in the sequence as issuing to certificate authority of Komodo for a new request, obtaining prerequisites, fetching the session with Komodo, adding the CA connector, meaning adding the orientation between the certificate itself, its chain of trust, and the certificate authority, submitting the CSR, getting the work order itself, and then applying the application connector, which is the point where the certificate would reside. I'm just going to go back a slide. Those are the individual workflow requests to define this this chain of trust and orientation between your certificate instance, the certificate authority, and where the certificate resides. So that's broken down into a, as I mentioned, a highly repeatable workflow where you're gathering those certificate details, generating the request, retrieving the certificate, and then applying it to the endpoint. So this allows you for the customized build out of event-driven automation using these pre-built, in many cases, or customized build tasks and workflows. We're able to integrate with, as I mentioned, ITSM tools for ticketing and governance of change management. We can expose this catalog as a service request for the certificate lifecycle management, and that exposure can be through the web user interface as displayed in the image, or through an API as well. And then finally, enabling self-service for automation workflows. in this user-friendly workflow palette design structure. So that covers the 5 items that we feel are must-haves when you're looking at a certificate lifecycle management solution or platform. I'd like to open up for any questions that you might have. So feel free to enter those into the Q&A shade from the Zoom meeting dropdown, or just feel free to voice any questions. Okay, we seem to be a little light on the questions or interactions this morning. Puneet, is there anything that you would like to add?
Nope, I think from the certificate management perspective, you covered everything. And from the audience, if you guys have any questions on the PKI, HSM, or the certificate management, you can reach out to the Glenn or me at the contact details which are there on the slide right now. And that's all I have. Glenn, do you want to add anything, or we're good?
No, nothing else to add. We would look forward to any follow-up questions. If anyone attending would like to preview the AppViewX platform or discuss in more detail with Puneet and I about consulting services or the AppViewX platform itself, feel free to reach out to us. We'd be more than happy to engage independently and directly. So with that, if there are no questions, thoughts, concerns, then I want to thank everyone for attending this morning, and look forward to meeting with you out there in the community. So stay safe and have a wonderful rest of your week.
Thank you all.